walk you through how to set up an import preset for Canon R5 that will include the color fidelity camera profiles instead of having it default to the Adobe profile. So as you can see, I have a R5 image here, and on import it will default to the Adobe color preset. I've purchased the camera fidelity presets, so if you click on the profile browser and scroll down, you'll see the color fidelity presets here. I use the standard profile in my camera most of the time, so I will go ahead and choose neutral. So if you just mouse over this, you can just see the changes and how much more pleasing the Canon based profile is. So I'll click on the camera fidelity standard. If you're using neutral, click on that. If you're using landscape, whichever one you use most or all of the time in your R5, choose that one and click close, knowing that you can always go in here and change it. So if you used a different profile on a picture or two, you can go in there and change it, but this is the one that I want applied as a default. Now the other two sections that I take a look at here are detail. Right now, detail by default, Adobe will apply a sharpening level of 40, which is fairly high, but it wants a crisp image, but at a radius of 1, and it applies it to the entire image. Masking will take away sharpening from certain levels of the image. My default is a level of 25 because I do more sharpening in Photoshop using either Topaz Denoise, Topaz Sharpen AI, or the Camera Raw filter itself as part of my workflow. So I set this to 25 to start. I will set the radius to 1.3 because the DX sensor, not the DX sensor, the R5 sensor is very detailed. It's a large, you get a lot of megapixels, so I keep that at 1.3. Detail is fine at 25, but the masking level I changed to 85. Now, what that means is if you hold down the Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC and you click on the slider, it will show you what level of sharpening, or what part of the image is sharpened. So the further left you go, the more you can see it's being sharpened. So down low, any noise that I have in that background is actually going to get sharpened. Further right I go, the less it gets sharpened. So right here at 85 is the sweet spot. Right, so I keep that at 85, and I make sure the noise reduction is off. And then finally, I just want to make sure that for the lens corrections, that remove chromatic aberration is turned on. Chromatic aberration is a color shift on out of focus edges, so you want to make sure that's turned on. So Adobe does a pretty good job on a lens by lens basis of fixing that, and then enabling profile corrections. What profile corrections is, it corrects any vignetting and any pin cushioning you would get for this specific lens here. It should, if you have, most major lenses will eventually wind up here. If it has it, it will apply it. If it does not have your lens, it'll apply none, which would be the same as unchecking this. So if you look at profile corrections, I turn this off, and you can see just a minor shift here. So the change in distortion, and then you'll see a vignetting here that lens gives naturally. So once it's enabled, you see it brightens up the edges, it gets removes the vignetting. So this is what I want. Okay, so these are the things I absolutely want done each and every time I import an image into Lightroom. Now, if you want, I'll come over here and we'll scroll to the top. Over here, just excuse that, and you have the preset menu. You may have a bunch of different presets loaded. That's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new preset. Right? Create a preset, and it's going to be stored under user presets. Okay? And what I want to do is, these are the three things that I definitely want, but in case I change anything, right, I want to check them all. I want to make sure that everything is as it stays, right, as it is right now in Lightroom. And then I will name that preset Canon R5 import, and then create it. So now once I've created it, all right, now I can find it in the preset menu. Okay, so I scroll down and I see Canon R5 import. All right, I've already created another one here that the same, but I just wanted to do this as an example again. So what this means is if I accidentally apply another preset to it, so if I click on anything else, any of these other presets I have, come back to R5 import, and it will go through and reset all of the changes that were made to it to what it would have been at the point of import. Now, how do I make this happen all the time? That's the next step. So I've saved it. So now I'm going to go under Lightroom Preferences. Okay, and in the preset piece over here, you can then go ahead and set a raw default on import. So it already knows that I'm on deal with the Canon R5 because that's the photo that I'm on. I don't have anything sitting over here, so nothing gets applied by default. So for this, what I want to do is for this Canon R5, and you can actually make changes by serial number. So if some cameras are sharper than others, if some cameras are require more noise reduction, if you have one camera set to standard, one camera set to say landscape, you can make this profile specific. I only have one R5, so for now I'm not going to deal with the serial number. This would be for any R5 that gets pulled in. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to click here and I'm going to grab a preset. And I will go to User Presets, and now I will scroll down and I will take the Canon R5 import. And now I go ahead and create that particular default, and now I'm done. So now anytime a Canon R5 imports photos into Lightroom, it will apply that default. It'll give me the color fidelity profiles, and I can start with something that looks just like it did inside the camera or on the camera rear screen. So I'm starting at a point where I want it to start, not a point where I needed to fix it. I hope that helps. Have a good day.